All right, here's a just a quick review of your retouching tools. On this image, we're going to use the clone stamp, and that is this tool right here. If you press S, it'll take you to that tool. And the way this works is you're going to sample a texture pattern, and it will allow you to copy that pattern onto the area that you want to paint. Now, a couple things before you go. You have some settings here that you want to be aware of. Your brush size is important. So you don't want to be too big. But you also don't want to be too small. So I'm going to find a nice middle ground that's around the size you want. And the way this works, again, you're going to hold Option on your keyboard. And when you do that, you'll get this crosshair. And this is going to determine what your sample is. So I'm going to click on the middle of this light grass area, left click, and then you'll see that now the pattern appears underneath that brush. And now I can kind of paint over the areas that I need to cover the texture of. Now you want to be careful, because if you just kind of go blindly without looking where your crosshair is, notice that it's hard to see, but it's on the screen, the area you're sampling. If you're not paying attention, you could easily just clone a part you don't want to clone, like I just did there. So make sure you keep an eye on where that crosshair is. There it goes. And kind of do short clicks instead of holding down your mouse button, because that'll be a much easier go than if you just hold it down. Now what you want to look at the end is look for patterns. So I see this dark dot, and then there's this patch of grass. So I'm just going to resample somewhere else and kind of cover those up. And then as long as you don't see any evidence, then you're good to go. I'm also going to cover up these sprinklers over here. And this one over here. Again, Option, click to sample, and then you're good to go. Okay, on to the next image. This is where we're going to use your spot healing brush on these kind of holes in the ground. Notice I am still sampling from the other image, so you can take it to other files too. I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to use the spot healing brush. Shortcut is J. Again, your brush size is going to matter here, depending on what you want to sample. What makes the spot healing brush nice is that it's going to do most of the work for you. You're going to just click on an area. Photoshop's going to look around that area and find kind of the pixels that you are maybe looking for, and it's going to blend it in for you. So this is a good thing to do with small blemishes, areas where you want to cover it up. Maybe your photo has a piece of dust on it from the lens, your sensor was dirty. In this area here, this is a little bit bigger, so I can just kind of hold the mouse down and it'll again try to find that. Now this isn't great for parts where you have maybe contrast, this dark and light. You want to be careful, because it's just going to sometimes get confused, although that right there didn't happen. Now over here, we're going to take this bigger part, and I'm just going to show you your regular healing brush. Then this one's kind of a combination of the clone stamp and the spot healing. So you have to sample first, and then you can bring that texture over. Notice it is going to match the colors and the values though. So it's taking the texture, but it's matching the values around. So that can be very useful too. Last one is your patch tool. That's in the same tool set as the spot healing and the healing brush. So here's the patch. This one's for bigger areas. So what you can do with this one is you're gonna select an area just by drawing around it. So I'm gonna draw around this scar. And then you can click inside of this area that you just drew. And I'm gonna drag that area to an area I want to use now as the newer texture. And then it's also gonna blend in the colors too. I'm gonna do that one more time here. And there you go. Over here I can maybe try to use one of the other tools. Let me do a spot healing. And it's pretty good. And then those are your basic retouching tools. So just to review, you have your clone stamp, you have your spot healing, and your patch tool.